So, imagine this. Ubisoft released a good game? Hello guys and fanboys, welcome to the 6th episode of Underrated, the series where we go through each year of gaming and choose which game is the most underrated game of that year. And in this episode, we are taking a look at the year 2019. Yeah, shocker, right? Ubisoft and good games don't really go hand to hand with each other, but believe it or not, these guys can sometimes make some good games, even though there are a lot of people who may disagree, and if you're one of them, we'll be happy to hear your thoughts as well. With each episode, finding a truly underrated game for each year just becomes harder and harder. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do for the next episode. Looking through 2019, there were a lot of good, really good, and bad games. Eventually, we narrowed it down to a few options like Devotion, Void Bastards, Pathologic 2, and World War Z. Then again, because we wanted to talk about different genres, we went with World War Z. As I had played it back in 2019 and remembered good things about it, and that I've never finished it, and when I played the game for this video, I quickly realized the exact reason. It was mid, much like the movie they based the game on. It had no connection to the movie, no character callbacks that I could see, and genuinely some shit gameplay mechanics and bad graphics and boring missions and fucking... Yeah, so it didn't make the cut. Instead, one of the big brains in the team suggested that we go with a racing game that was made by Ubisoft. Now, me? I hate racing games. I don't get the point of them. At least with a controller. If you got one of those steering wheels, then maybe yes, but this one didn't even have cars. It was a motorcycle racing game, which after some research, I don't know how I haven't heard the name of it. As frustrated as I was because of the last game, I still gave Trials Rising a try, and let me tell you, just wow. I did not expect this type of game from Ubisoft. So if you were like me and you didn't know, the Trials series has been around since the year 2000, back when it was a Flash title, and it evolved through the next games in the series, such as Trials HD, Evolution, and Fusion. And Red Lynx is the studio behind all these games that was acquired by Ubisoft in 2011. The Trials series was pretty popular amongst fans already, but they wanted to be ambitious and go for the biggest, most complete version they could build. Previously, the Trials series was all about riding a motorcycle through a challenging track and trying to control it, because the games had realistic physics and you really needed some skill to not crash, which I clearly didn't have. For this title, that gameplay core stayed the same, but there were some bad changes into the progression system of the game. You couldn't access all the challenges and tracks at first. On previous games, you would unlock harder tracks by completing the easier ones first, but right from the start, you could do different challenges, which in Trials Rising was locked behind a frustrating XP grind that felt forced onto the players. Another smaller problem was that every time you crashed and failed a mission, you could instantly restart, and with no interruption you were back on track. But in Trials Rising, the retry loop was interrupted for a few seconds, which was kind of frustrating for the old fans. And for the new fans, it was overwhelming. The irony of all this is that the gameplay was arguably the best in the series. So if I want to say everything about Trials Rising in one sentence, it would be something like this. The bike felt perfect, but the game kept getting in the way. But besides all of the usual mistakes of Ubisoft, if you ignore the live service shit as well, the game at its core has a really interesting gameplay loop. As I said, I don't really like racing games, and on top of that, I don't like motorcycle racing games at all. So for this game to impress me and make me want to do a video on it, it had to be a really solid game. I'm not even kidding. I was just trying to go through some tracks to get some gameplay for this video, and then I found myself doing one challenge with this motherfucker of a bike for 40 fucking minutes, and I don't even know how it happened. Red Lynx really knew what they were doing with the gameplay loop, although we don't have an exact time as to when the development of the game started. It would approximately be around 2 years, as the game was first revealed in E3 2018 and then the closed beta started in September 2018. So with a little bit of help from Ubisoft Kiev, and again no exact budget announcement that I can talk about, Red Lynx had made an iconic core for their Trials games that lasted them all the way from 2000, back when they were founded, to 2019. Onto the game engine of this game, we don't know anything about it. Yeah, so while I was researching about this game, I found absolutely fucking nothing on anything that we usually talk about in these videos. And with the game not having a storyline, it really doesn't help me in any way. But from what I could tell, the game was made with Red Lynx's own game engine that was designed for 2.5D graphics and realistic physics, which again would have been an obvious choice with this game. But finally, one of these underrated games actually got good marketing. I mean, it's Ubisoft, you shouldn't expect less, but they released 3 major trailers for the game, one of them being the E3 2018, and the other 2 were launch and pre-launch promo trailers, which again did have a great impact on the game, but not enough, as they said this game was the biggest and most ambitious Trials to date. So again, they could and should have gone for better and more mainstream marketing. A new thing that they tried was a Paris campaign, which a company called 84.Paris created an IRL promotional accessory called the Trials Turbo Bike. It was a real bicycle attachment that made motocross style engine sounds, meant to literally bring the game to the streets. But all in all, it was solid, and if it wasn't for the other releases in that same time period, it probably would have performed a lot better. The other releases being Resident Evil 2 Remake, Sekiro, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Apex Legends, which actually blew up a few weeks prior to the release of Trials. The thing is, Trials Rising wasn't a cinematic blockbuster. It was a skill-based arcade physics racer. That fact just made everything worse for this game. It just didn't stick. As of now, it stands at a mixed review on Steam and just failed to be a great experience for either new or old fans. They just didn't do enough to get themselves a new set of fans. Yeah, we did talk about the bad stuff a lot. Let's be honest, there's always something bad in every Ubisoft work. But with this game, you get a good challenge for you and your mental health. The tracks in this game are well designed and actually different from each other. The game doesn't hold your hand and help you. The skill needed to play this game with good records has to be earned, and that's a good thing. The fact that you need to play the game and learn it yourself, fail and try again and again, with a worldwide map and different difficulty of tracks, different bikes which can be unlocked by leveling up, and the biggest test for you to see if you would go for that epic spin midair or you're just a pussy. I'm a guy who usually gets angry at games that are frustrating pretty fast, but this game's level of challenge is just perfect, and just the thing that we need the new generation of gamers to play, because it's not an easy game by any means, but it's so fun to learn it and play it like a pro, which I still haven't managed to do. The fact that even I could play this game for hours and not get tired of it means that it does have a good core gameplay and nice track design. Overall, I think you should definitely check this one out, especially if you're a race lover.